Looking for some new Core Set 2021 cards? Well, you can go get them from our sponsor, Card Kingdom. Card Kingdom has Core Set 2021 cards up for pre-order right now, so go check it out over at cardkingdom.com. Hey everyone, welcome back to Commander Clash, and this week we have a very special guest for a very special week. We are doing Commander 2020, the precons that have recently been released, straight out of the box, no alterations, and to play with the new precons, we brought Wizards of the Coast's Gavin Verhey. He is the lead architect of Commander 2020, so the perfect guest for this week. Gavin, thanks for joining us, and what deck are you playing?
Well, thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here and get to play with this release. I haven't got to play the decks in paper yet, actually, so I'm so excited to get to play them here online. I am playing the Cycling deck for a few reasons. One, it was my favorite deck to play in design. I love playing this deck. Two, I've always liked the cycling mechanic. I know it's kind of like this fiddly mechanic, but I just love getting value out of cycling in my cards, and as a former pro player, it's really fun trying to figure out when you should cycle and when you shouldn't cycle. And third, and perhaps most importantly, it's helmed by Gavi Warden. So, I mean, come on, was there really any other choice?
Is that a complete coincidence, by the way, the name, or?
Right. So Gavi Warden, of course, is the Gavinist Warden, in case people out there didn't pick up on it. Very important. I believe it's a coincidence, but I also have never asked the person who wrote the name, and it's kind of more fun to have a mystery, you know? Life doesn't have enough mystery sometimes, and this is a good one. I just remember, we all do this thing called a slideshow when it comes to the set being almost done, where we show all the cards to everyone who works on Magic in one big meeting. There's this big slideshow up on the wall, and we all go watch every card go by, and then everyone is encouraged to send in comments to the editor and the set lead so they can go through and make any small tweaks based on what they saw. Maybe, for example, man, it would be awesome if this was worded slightly differently, or hey, there's a typo in the flavor text, or any number of things, right? Mm-hmm. Usually maybe only a handful of functional changes go on. But when Gavi Warden came up, I hadn't seen it before, and most people hadn't seen it before. And so the room slowly, across the room, you started to hear this roll of, it's the Gavinist card, and everyone kind of laughed. And after that moment, I was like, okay, well, that was fun, but surely it's going to get changed. But it didn't, and it stuck as is, and it brings a big smile to my face, and I'm going to try and collect as many copies as I can. So I'm glad I get to play with it here on Commander Clash.
Oh my goodness, that sounds fantastic. And I imagine that's going to be one of the top cards people are going to want you to sign going forward when we do finally have Magic Fests and Command Fests and everything opening up.
Yeah, I think it's a good combination of obviously me, right? You look at the name, you're like, oh, I get who I should have signed this. And two, it's very easily accessible. You know, being the face card of this deck, it means a lot of people will have extra copies rolling around. Where a card that is very meaningful to me, like say Experiment 5 from the Mystery Booster playtest cards, is just a lot harder to get your hands on, you know? So yeah, I'll probably sign a lot of Gavi Wardens and be happy about every single one. And hopefully some cat dinosaur tokens too. Those guys are real cute.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, well, Seth, what commander are you running for this week?
Ooh, so I am playing Otrimi the Ever-Playful, the Sultai-Mutate deck, and I'm playing this deck for two reasons. One is, when I was kind of reviewing Commander 2020, I thought this was the weakest of the decks by a pretty decent margin, so I want to see if maybe it's a little better than I gave it credit for, because judging decks without getting to play them is hard. So I want to see if it's maybe better than I thought at first glance. Secondly, I really love the mutate mechanic. I think when I first saw it, I was a little skeptical, but after getting to play with it in standard, it's just a really fun mechanic that I really like playing with. So even if the deck isn't that powerful, at least I get to play a deck built around a mechanic that I think is really fun and really cool.
Awesome.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think mutate is one of those mechanics that when you read it, it's like, whoa, what is going on here? How does this work? But after playing with it for a little while, you really get to see all the fun intricacies of it. And, it's showing up online with Arena first really, I think, help people get accustomed to how the mechanic works and plays.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. It took a little bit of adjusting, and I feel like it's one of those mechanics that I'm still, learning more about. A couple of weeks ago, I played, a Porcu-Parrot Death Touch deck that was actually, pretty competitive in Standard, just, shooting down everyone's creatures by mutating onto it. So I keep finding, new tricks with the mechanic that I totally missed at first. So I think it's still a lot to, explore as far as mutate, because it's so unique.
Yeah, there's definitely, a bunch of corner cases, putting it on Brood of Cockroaches to get back possibly all the creatures that died with it. There's like a lot of like weirdness to the mutate mechanic that you can play around with. It seems fun. Like it's very open-ended on how you run it.
Yeah, you can like blink a stack of them and they'll all come back as individual creatures, which is pretty fun.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of fun tricks you can pull. Notably, you can only mutate on cards you own. So you cannot mutate on a card that you steal from your opponent, but if they steal it from you, you can mutate on it. I don't know if you'd ever want to, but there's a fun little intricacy there.
And also, something I relearn every few matches is you can't mutate on humans. So every once in a while, I think I'm about to like win a game by mutating onto a creature, and then I untap and try to do it on Arena, and it's like ghosted out and doesn't let you do it. I'm like, oh, it's a human. No, we actually lose.
Oh no.
Unfortunate. All right, Richard, what precon are you running?
All right, I am playing Symbiotic Swarm, the Abzan Graveyard Matters deck. So my commander is Kathril, Abzan 3/3, a wall of text, but basically for all the keywords on your creatures in your graveyard, when you cast Kathril, you can put a counter of that keyword onto your creatures for each of those keywords. So for example, Death Touch, Lifelink, Hexproof, etc. And then for each of those counters, you put a +1/+1 counter on Kathril. So I hope you guys don't have graveyard hate. I hope I get a lot of counters. Like, you get a lot of counters. You get the keyword counters, plus you get the +1/+1 counters. So get the counter bag ready. And then there is a single card in my deck, which I'm really hoping I draw, which is Cartographer's Hawk. A highly debated card, whether this is good, whether it ramps properly. So I hope I draw it and we get to play with it and see what it actually does, to see which side of the argument I'm gonna fall on.
Just mulligan to Cartographer's Hawk. That's your plan.
Yeah,
Mulligan to Cartographer's Hawk. I
have
lost
to
the
debate.
game. Refund.
We won't debate unless it's there. Awesome. All right, and hello, this is Tomer. I am running Ruthless Regiment, which is the Mardu or Savai wedge tricolor. White, red, and black. And this is a human tribal deck, so it has a very strong human focus, but it also has some other themes going on, such as go wide. It produces a bunch of tokens, and it wants to attack with a bunch of tokens. And also kind of like a sacrifice or aristocrats theme, where you're going to be sacrificing all your excess tokens, your small creatures, to fuel powerful spells and fuel powerful abilities. So it's human tribal, go wide aristocrats is how I'm seeing the deck. And it's kind of like aggressively mid-range, and it's probably going to put a lot of the pressure on the slower decks. That's the idea here. So I'm going to be the aggro player, I think. Hopefully. I'm going to be very aggressive and try to draw cards and dirt all at the same time.
Well, not to give you too much of an advantage, but one of the fun things about that deck in particular for everyone out there listening or watching is that a lot of times these kind of tribal decks have trouble in Commander because they fizzle out really fast, right? You put your hand onto the board and it looks really good, but then a board sweeper takes you down. We put a lot of work into that deck to help make sure that it could be resilient against sweepers, and the Commander, especially Jirina Kudro, if that's when you're going to play, is really good at just rebuilding your board entirely, even after a board sweeper. So kind of a one-person army there.
Yeah, absolutely. Like when I was looking at the decks to see how I would like upgrade them, I noticed that it had very, very powerful card draw. Like in terms of burst draw, Painful Truce, Ambition's Cost, you cast one spell, efficiently draw 3 cards. But then they also have very strong draw engines. Skull Clamp is in the deck, and it's very good at making sure you stay with a full hand size. That's probably the highlight of the deck. But there's also like Species Specialist, and if you have like a big creature, Disciple of Bolas is also very powerful too. So it seems really good. And also the mana base, I think, is also very tight on this one. Like the lands themselves, a lot of them tap for multiple colors, but there's a bunch that, also have extra value, like Path of Ancestry, and Exotic Orchard, Command Tower, like a bunch of ways to make sure that you're curving out really well. So in those respects, I think it's really good. All right, but with the deck intros out of the way, let's hop into the game.
So, Gavin, you're the architect of Commander 2020. Does that mean you're also the architect of like the future Commander decks that are coming out this year? I know you already announced like Zendikar has some and whatnot. Like, does Commander 2020 mean the entire year's worth of Commander decks, or like just the ones that came out with Ikoria?
So I I'm the Commander Architect, so I work on all of our Commander products. And so I've touched everything coming out this year. I was basically the guy leading Commander. So Commander Legends, the Zendikar Commander decks, some fun stuff out in the future. It's stuff that I get to touch. So I'm really excited about it. And I'll say that in particular, I am stoked for Commander Legends. That is a set that I have put so much time and energy into. And by the time it releases later this year, it will have been nearly 6 years since I started working on that set. So think about whatever you're doing 6 years ago, and that is how much time I put into this. So I've had faith in Commander for a very, very, very long time.
Oh, that is super cool. Yeah, I'm actually really excited for that set too. Just like the uniqueness of it. It sounds like a booster product, just the way y'all have described it, that we've never really seen anything exactly like it before. So I'm excited to see how it goes as well.
No, yeah, you really have not seen anything quite like it. And it is the set I wish I could say so many things about. I know I need to leave my my mouth closed on, but it is pretty sweet.
We're getting closer to quarter 4 or whatever, so pretty soon I'll be looking forward to it.
I keep finding ways to try and preview art pieces, right? Like I showed off Baron Sengir, we showed off Kamal and the Prismatic Piper on the stream last week for the Command Fest online. So slowly but surely we're getting some out there. I just did something that I have. I can't remember the last time I did in Commander. I just mulliganed down to 6 cards.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I just went down to 6 myself, but this hand seems decent, actually. But yeah, how's your 6 though?
Decent.
My 6 is gonna be okay. I mean, it's not great, but I'm certainly not mulliganing down to 5. I'll tell you that much.
So if our hands are too suspect, we just restart the game.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure we get a good game. So.
I would say my hand is extremely medium. It does not excite me whatsoever, but I'm going to keep it because going down to 5 cards would be a disaster.
I mean, can you cast your spells for the most part? Like hit your land drops at least?
I can definitely hit my land drops. I'll get back to you about casting my spells.
That sounds decent. I mean, you're a cycling deck. It's all going to work out. Like it's all full of cycling cards. How bad can it possibly be?
Well, yeah, it'd be really good if I had any cycling cards, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, that. I have to say, Gavi is, as soon as I saw it, Gavi's like my favorite commander from the set too. It's such a cool card.
Gavi is great. I've got a bounce land though, so I basically have a 7-card hand. You know, I didn't want to discard an extra card to the bounce land anyway, so it all works out.
And none of the precons are running strip mines, so the bounce lands are safe in this playgroup. At least for now.
For 1 week. Don't run bounce lands next episode because I will strip mine them on turn 2 if I get the chance.
Yeah, if you ever join us again, Gavin, Seth has a habit of targeting maliciously people who run bounce lands. In most playgroups, I'm totally fine with it. Like, I have in my paper deck, like my Zedru deck uses abilities like Land Tax and Knight of the White Orchid, which wants to have less lands than opponents. And bounce lands are kind of part of that strategy to make sure that I don't have more lands than other people to activate those abilities. But in this particular playgroup, they're very much strip mine happy.
I'm just trying to help make sure you have less lands than your opponent's Tomer, so then you can activate your land tax. The strip mine is doing you a favor.
And then Cartographer's Hawk will always work.
As someone who plays a lot of bounce lands in his decks, I'm now terrified about returning to the show.
Do you play a lot of paper Commander, Gavin?
I do. I play a good amount of paper Commander. And these days I play a lot of Commander over webcam online. But I love playing Commander. And one of my favorite things to do actually when I go to Magic Fests or things like that is I'll sit down at a table and borrow someone else's deck. And I really like doing that for a couple of reasons. One thing is that it shows me kind of what other people in the world are playing and how they're using our cards. I know what I'm building, but it's really great to see what people out there are building. And 2, it also helps calibrate power levels. If two people at the table are playing decks from the same person, it just makes it that much more likely that the table will be at a unified power level. So that's one of my favorite tricks. Unfortunately, it works out well for me because people trust me to play their decks. You know, everyone's actually very excited a lot of the time to hand me whatever weird favorite deck they have in their bag and play it.
Oh, so speaking of you playing on the webcam, have you done any webcams online that people can see?
You know, I did play live on the Command Fest online stream last weekend. Mm-hmm. And so if you go back and watch the Twitch VODs, you can go see me play online in a pretty fun little game. I won't give it away, but me and Alias were on the same team, so there might have been some shenanigans. What I will say happened is there were these donation incentives where you could donate money to have things happen in the game. We were raising money for charity, and I got a really great start. And then the audience thought it would be fun. One of the donation incentives was to reverse the turn order. So I think 3 or 4 turns in a row, they reversed it on the player next to me's turn. So I just got time walked like 3 times, which was totally brutal.
At least it goes for a good cause.
Yeah, right. That's how I felt exactly. And I still did pretty well in that game if you go back and watch. What? No way.
Oh,
I was just like playing my lands, all whatever. And I was like, Exotic Orchard, I can tap for anything. There's a command tower in play. I certainly can't make blue mana, I'll tell you that much. Ain't no blue mana over there.
Oh.
Every color but blue. I'm just jibber jabbering, having a good conversation.
Ooh, Tectonic Reformation. That's a good one.
That is a great one.
It's not as good as the card I was going to play with blue mana, I'll tell you that much.
I might help you out by playing an island next turn. So
please play an island.
Unfortunately, I cannot help out. But, I mean, this hand is developing very nicely.
I mean, you have a Calvary Pegasus. Technically, you're winning.
I also love on MTGO, it immediately chooses the correct creature types based on what's in your hand. I don't know, it's kind of neat. So I can easily choose human. All right.
Have you ever cast Umori in Arena? The choose a creature type companion or choose a type companion?
Oh, yes. It always gives you a land option for some reason.
My favorite is it gives you land and it gives you whatever type your deck is playing, which is really, really funny to me.
Land is like the one thing you never want to name with that card, which is the best part of it.
So I don't actually know the reason, but what I believe is probably true is it probably says land on there. So if you want to name something that doesn't impact a card type, you can name it in case you're worried about your opponent like stealing your creature or something.
That makes sense. Yeah, you wouldn't want to like accidentally have your opponent steal it and have it benefit them or something. Yeah,
right. That way you can still mimic paper functionality, but it's still pretty funny to me every time. It's like, would you like to choose creature or land? I'm like, I'll pick creature. Thanks, Umori.
Yeah, I think I'll go. Oh, so do I play an island to be nice to Gavin, or do I pay a dual land because I just drew it?
You got to do what you got to do. Okay.
Search your heart for what it's true.
Well, I'm scared of the cycling deck, so I think getting on Gavin's good side on turn 3 is probably wise.
Well, I'll cast the Kodama's Reach, yes.
I also would like to do a little bit of ramping, so.
Speaking of which, I didn't even look at what commanders people were playing. Was Kelsey in your commander, or did you just draw that naturally?
Oh, I think we all chose just the face commander, so I have
We're all
Jirina.
using the face commander.
Yeah. Although I will say my personal preference, I really like the partners, Trin and Sylvar in the deck. Those are definitely my preference, just because I really, really like Sylvar as like an aristocrat that can kind of go into Voltron and protect itself by turning indestructible. I like that combination a lot. But Jirina's good too. I like her as well. Like you said, later on in the game, the fact that if you have just all this mana and you just keep dumping it into your commander, recasting it, your board just gets bigger and bigger. And then you just like top deck a Skull Clamp or something and you are cruising.
Anytime you draw a Skull Clamp, you're in good shape. I feel like there's a number of decks I have where the win rate probably goes up significantly when you draw the magic card Skull Clamp. Which is also true of, I guess, most decks with Skull Clamps. So
yeah, I was delighted to see it in the deck, for sure.
Did you all play when Skull Clamp wasn't standard? Because that was a time to be alive, let me tell you.
I did not. That was before. That's when I was playing like casually. I started playing around that era actually, but yeah, I missed the like tournament aspects of Skull Clamp, which I think is probably a good thing. I guess maybe now, like 20 years later, it's fun to be like, hey, I played during Skull Clamp Standard, but it sounds like at the time, no one really had fun playing Skull Clamp Standard.
So the thing about Skull Clamp Standard was that, yeah, it was totally broken and miserable at the competitive level. But there were also all of these like very bad decks that were made competitive because you could put Skull Clamp in them. If you drew it, you would just win a bunch. So I remember my brother won like a JSS qualifier playing this like Beasts deck where he would play all these like Beasts and have like Ravenous Baloth. He would like equip Skull Clamp, sack a Beast, gain 4 life, draw 2 cards. And it's like, hey, it works just fine, you know?
I think I've noticed, I play a lot of like janky decks, of course, and I've noticed like Teferi kind of does the same thing a little bit in current standard. I'll play a deck and then it'll be horrible, and then I add Teferi to it, and I'm like, oh, like now I kind of like win sometimes, even though my deck is still just as janky, but you can't interact on my turn.
Yeah. There's certainly a few powerhouse cards like that rolling around, and frankly, there's a lot of mid-range cards in Standard right now that if you just draw them at the right time, like a Questing Beast or something, you'll do significant damage. Oh man, you attacked me? Fine, I'll take it.
I'm spreading the love. See, now everybody's at 38, which is nice and balanced. Ooh.
So one thing I always wondered about Commander decks is how do you determine rarity? Because kind of Commander decks are unique because you get one copy of every card. So how do you decide what's like a mythic versus a rare when you're building a Commander deck? Is there any like system for that, or is it more like gut feeling or flavor?
Yeah, that's actually a great question, because you're right. A Commander deck and a rarity is totally arbitrary. Every card in a deck is equally as rare because, well, you're just getting the whole deck. So there actually is a system we came up with. All of the face commanders are mythic rares. So all, like, you know, for example, any of the eligible commanders will be mythic rares. Any card that only appears in that deck is a rare. If a card appears in 2 or 3 of the decks, it is an uncommon. And if a card appears in all of the decks, it is a common. Now, this is only true of the new cards. The reprint cards generally just carry whatever rarity they had prior. But for example, if you look at the cards that are in play right now, Kelsian is a mythic rare, as is Trin and Nakara. Tectonic Reformation is a rare because it's just a reprint, for example. But if we were to play a card from our deck, like I have one in my hand right here, I'll hover the mouse over it so everyone can see it, even though I'm not going to say what it is to all of you. That card's just a rare. And this other card in my hand is an uncommon because it's in multiple decks. So there you go.
Interesting. So the rarity actually kind of works the same, but it's based on how many decks a card is in rather than how many are in the deck. I like that.
Which is, you know, kind of in a holistic sense how rare the copies of the card actually are. If you think about like in the world, how many copies of this card actually exist, that symbol will kind of be useful.
That actually makes a ton of sense. I never thought of it that way before. Interesting.
Yeah, there's all kinds of tiny little things like that we do behind the scenes that you would probably never notice, but are very much true. All right, so we got a little Fertilid going on here.
Just gotta keep
good amount of ramp.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to remove a counter though because you're Kelsian.
Do it, Seth. I won't. Oh, what? Kelsian has ability? No.
You just got to make sure you can remove both counters at the same time.
Yeah.
Or maybe mutate something onto it before I start removing counters.
I think it'll be fine.
Let's see. I think what I want to try is this. This sounds like fun. Well, Seth, you were nice to me, but you have Fertilid, so I actually can't do this over here. I feel like I should target this. What would you prefer was stronger, Trin or Kelsian?
Oh, well, since I have a Fertilid that I'd like to remove a counter from, I would say Kelsian, but I'm also biased by my Fertilid.
Oh, sorry, I'm not asking you which to kill. I'm asking him which I should make better.
Oh, no.
Sorry,
I
Tomar.
completely misunderstood.
I'm down for this. Kelsian, definitely. Vigilance and Haste seems like a nice combination.
Bam. All right, no problem. Yeah, I kind of buried the lead there a little bit, didn't I? Here we go. Have a shiny Impetus.
Okay, so who can I thank for the Impetus cycle, by the way? Because I love it so much.
Yeah, I believe that was, I think, if I remember correctly, that was Corey Bowen. It might have been Ethan Fleischer, one of the two. He was the designer of a lot of the cards in the decks, the lead final designer. And we wanted to do a new riff on the vows, and this was a really cool idea, I thought, of goading them so they had to attack every turn, right? You didn't have that problem where they sat around to block or they just never attacked with their creature. Nope, you are attacking, and you're getting in there.
Yeah, one of the first decks that I ever made, almost a decade ago, was based on the vows cycle. Like I had these cards, and a lot of people, when they were upgrading their first Commander 2011, the first precons, they would take out the vow cycle, and I also took out the vow cycle when I was upgrading Zedru, which was my very first deck, and I had all these vows, and I wanted to do something with them, so I built one deck that was all about just like slapping vows on Corona the False God, which is
oh my goodness
hilarious. It's just like 32 damage just going around the table just by herself. And then if you put that on her, then she can't attack you ever. And that was like just the entire impetus for the deck. And it was great. And now that the impetus cycle's out, it's just a full upgrade. And it's so fun.
Saying that was the impetus for the deck is a nice little good choice of words.
Thank you. And now, wait. Oh, wait, it's not a human. Oh, goodness. Wow. Okay. All right, Tober, you know how to play the game. Okay.
Corona is certainly a card cut from such a different cloth than what we'd make today. Now when we make these big story characters, we really try and make sure that they hit, or whatever the case might be. And this is an example of a card that's like, it's the main card in the set. It's the main story character in the set, and Corona is just total nonsense. Like, you look at that card and you're like, what in the world is going on here? But as a result, it creates like a fun little card in Magic's history to build around, and one that I'm glad exists, even though I don't think we would make it today.
It's also really interesting that, like, even after like a decade of, power creep, like creatures getting stronger, I feel like Corona's so strong still in multiplayer because of the damage potential of being able to do like an extra attack step for each player at the table for each turn cycle. So that's kind of really unique that keeps her like relevant, I think, in just like as a decision-making tool when you're trying to pick like what political combat commander you want to have. So it's always had like a soft spot in my heart. And then when the Impetus cycle came out, I was so happy.
And like you said, you put one of those on her and attack all my friends. It'll be great.
And I'm going to definitely do that thing right now. Seth, thank you for playing.
Tomer, not like, and you even have the Pegasus, so it flies.
Look, I'll attack Gavin for 3 as well, right? So we're being fair.
I gave you a gift.
Okay, that is true. I'll just attack Richard for more damage then.
You can hit. Why don't you hit? Richard for some extra damage.
Yeah,
you should ping Fertilid preemptively so Seth can't end of turn ramp.
It has vigilance, so it's still.
Oh, it has
still
vigilance.
works. Yeah, Calcium.
That's why when it has the Impetus, and I love the Impetus. I think the red one's my favorite too. The fact that it's just a nice little bit of ramp.
Yeah, in red too, which certainly can use it.
Mm-hmm.
One of my a neat little Easter egg some of you might not have noticed is one of the great things about releasing the commander decks aligned to the set, like we did here with Ikoria, is that we got to really make the two sets talk to each other. And so Kelsian actually appears in a bunch of flavor text on main set cards. But his card actually appears in the commander deck. And I think that's kind of cool that we have that kind of cross product synergy going on there.
Ooh, on that note, I do have a question for you. There's one artwork in Ikoria that depicts, it looks like Kelsian is attacking like a frog-like creature, a smaller creature than him. And then in the background, there's a huge beast that looks like it's about to eat Kelsian. Do you know what happened in that story?
I can't say I do. That's for you to make up your own fan fiction about.
Okay.
Let me know.
Mutate?
It's not. Okay. It was. I think it's a black sorcery that's like exile a creature power 3 or less, or something like that. Gosh.
Oh, easy prey.
Easy prey.
Yeah. I don't know.
Ooh. Oh wow.
That's a good value.
That was a good hit off of the Sterix for sure.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Wow.
Well,
that's
now maybe
nice,
humans will stop attacking me.
Destroy target non-creature permanent. You can definitely.
It doesn't.
Do so.
It doesn't say non-land, so look out, Tomer. I still got to strip mine, sort of.
Do you think I need?
I thought Boros Garrison was safe. I thought Boros Garrison was safe over here. What are you telling me?
I'm good on lands. You can go for it. I'd rather have some 3/3s.
I'm just saying, don't come on Boros Garrison.
No, I won't.
That is.
I'm worried about Tomer right now, not the cycling deck.
Why?
I probably. You have a huge board and it all flies, and I can't stop it.
Yeah, but they're just humans, Seth. It's fine. They're 1/1s.
It all adds up, though.
No, it's fine.
And then your command. They're going to be 3/1s in a minute once you play Jinara.
Oh, I have a commander. Ignore that. Yeah, this is going really well for me. I'm very happy with this performance so far.
I'm glad I put a vow on your creature.
I know. We're now working together, Gavin. I feel like we've established a friendship here.
I feel like I just joined the Empire a little bit, I gotta admit. But
you have joined the dark side. Give into your hate. Destroy Seth's 8/8.
Just let me mutate. It's like drawing a card, basically. And you know not to mess with my card draw.
That's fair.
Ironically, putting an impetus on that creature probably not so good because you can blow it up so easily. Yeah, here comes Yannick.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess Yannick is scavenging the partner
scavenging
here.
The partner.
There's an unfortunate turn of events. Don't befriend hyenas, I guess.
A tale as old as time, this one, yes.
Does anyone have a Nikara in their deck that they would like to search up?
I don't
Can't say I do. I'm all out.
So.
think we're okay here.
But I appreciate that you would consider targeting one of us. That's very kind of you.
Where's my partners?
I don't know. You just have to find them.
The odds of finding one are better than anything else.
That's
true.
true. That's true. The odds are not that bad.
I mean, they're not great, but they're better than everything else.
Depends on how many cards you're going to draw.
All right. I finally could play Orzhov Basilica. I've had it in my hand the entire game, but I would have to discard. The deck has a lot of gold cards. Drawing 2 planes and a swamp was not ideal.
Can't imagine discarding that in the hand size is too bad when Kathril's in your command zone.
But
Not ideal.
value.
All right. Well, let's get the fun rolling here. I'm going to put out Gavi.
Awesome. The cycling starts.
Oh boy.
Yeah, well, don't get too excited about the cycling. We'll see. We'll see how much it starts. I just wanted to cast her, so here we are. It's a fine reason. And then I'm going to... can't believe I'm doing this. I'm going to normal cycle my Ash Barons using Tectonic Reformation. Because that brings a smile to my face. Because I really want that cat dino.
Maximum value.
Yeah.
I feel like all of our decks are kind of doing what they're supposed to do. Maybe not Richard so much.
Not Richard,
I don't know if exiling
But Graveyard has evolving wilds in it. It is it is lacking.
I would say that I've done a lot of things that involve the word cycling. I don't know if this is what my deck is supposed to do, but definitely the word cycling appears on 3 of my permanents. So
There seems to be some sort of theme going on. Okay. Yeah, do I cast Jirina or do I just make Seth upset? I feel like both
Tomer.
are really tantalizing here.
Both are going to make me upset, I think, because Jirina's like a lot of damage.
Yeah, I don't know. This is interesting. Can make you so very upset. What's the worst mutate creature you can do? I'm gonna let you do whatever you want there. Let's just play my commander and do some damage.
I hope I can. I need to mutate into a Wrath or something.
Well, I don't know if you're going to be able to flip a Wrath off Auspicious Stars. I don't think that one's going to work for you.
Yeah, I don't think there's like a Massacre Girl or something. There are ways, but I don't know if they're in this deck.
Look at this
the
damage
unupgraded
potential.
version. Yeah.
Oh boy.
That's
when we previewed the decks, I think a lot of people were like, "Oh, the humans deck that looks so weak. I don't want to play that one." But that deck can hit for so much damage. I think these kind of aggressive decks are often discounted in Commander when people see them. They can be really powerful, especially with a card like Jirina, which gives you a long game advantage.
Yeah, Jirina's a really cool way to support the aggro plan in the early game, but then still give the deck a way to rebuild after Wrath. And I think that aggro in a precon versus precon meta, I think it gets even further advantages, because I think in general the number of like hard Wraths in precons is a little lower than some other play groups with more upgraded decks. So I think that further, like, I'm very scared of the human deck just because of what it's doing right now. This is like what, 20 damage?
Well, and look at this. He still has 4 cards in his hand, right? I mean, even if we were to sweep the board, he would have 4 cards in hand, Jirina in his command zone, and he would give Sylvar indestructible. So, I mean, his board position is looking fine even through a Wrath currently.
Yeah, that is frightening for sure.
Yeah, I'm really digging this so far, not gonna lie.
I was making fun of the Cavalry Pegasus, but it's actually doing a ton of work, because I could be blocking any of your things with my huge creatures if it wasn't for for the little 1/1 flyer.
Cavalry Pegasus is low-key bonkers. It's giving all your attacking humans flying. It's kind of insane.
Oh, it gives all of them flying.
All of them. And Sylvar has
You wouldn't think that
menace.
a 2-mana 1/1... Yeah, you wouldn't think that a 2-mana 1/1 is going to be that good in Commander, but here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, it's a great visual. Imagine all these humans hopping on top of the Cavalry Pegasus.
Get on board.
It's a real big Pegasus, everyone.
No blocks. Great. Everybody's life total is fair and balanced. I like it.
Except
I tried to block, and then the game informed me that I could not because they all had flying. So
MTGGo does make sure to ask you, though. Even if you can't, it's like, hey, are you sure you don't want to block, even though you can't? All right, then. What are you going to mutate, Seth?
I
You don't want to make my board state upset. The humans are
your board
very
state is
vengeful.
they're already attacking me every turn. I'm trying to decide if I should draw cards or if I should just start blowing up your lands out of spite because I know you're gonna kill me anyway. But that gives you more creatures to spite kill me with. Yes. So I think I'm just going to.
Hey Seth, I'll make you. Oh, I was gonna make you a deal, but it's too late.
Oh,
that deal's no good. I was gonna. I'll tell you next turn.
All right, next, keep the deal in mind. If I'm still alive, I will put this under.
Awesome.
And now we get 2 free cards. Oh, and I get to.
You can control target non-creature artifacts.
Wait, why?
I guess you could get that treasure token. That's about it.
Why is
it
triggering?
Why is it?
Because I mutated onto the Sterix pile. Huh. I don't think this is supposed to be
No, that's right?
Is
What?
it?
No, that's right.
You're triggering the Sterix pile.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, whenever it mutates.
Yeah. Well, I can't believe you're trying to yank my treasure. That's rude.
I thought this was the card draw bird. I was thinking this was the one from Ikoria. Okay. This is good too. Yeah, you are correct.
Okay, so now I've got a big question for you, Seth. Should I sacrifice this treasure? Or you? Like, do you have plans for it?
I didn't. I honestly thought this was the card draw 5-drop from Ikoria, so I had no plans for the treasure.
I'm just gonna sack the treasure then. I don't need any extra mana running around. It feels very bad though.
Don't worry, Gavin. I'll get you another treasure by attacking Seth.
Ooh.
As long as you're attacking Seth and not me.
Hey.
Partnered up.
Oh wow, there we go. Partner action.
Yes, we will get our partner.
All right, Richard. I think it's time for a board sweeper. I don't know about you, but
I think we're fine.
Would you like to get me some card draw to dig for this so-called board sweeper?
Can't help. Go fish.
Okay, I have spot removal. Will spot removal help against 50 tokens?
It'll help him. Maybe we can incentivize him to attack Seth by killing off his blocker.
No, don't help kill me. That doesn't sound. Remember, Gavin, I gave you
kill Tomer? You have a lot of power over there.
Don't worry about little
me.
Yeah,
you gave me the island, then you took away my treasure. I needed that treasure.
And I'm the one providing treasures to Gavin.
I mean, I guess I might as well attack Tomer since I can't block anyway.
Last turn, I was extremely greedy by cycling that Ash Baron so I could draw a card, and then I missed my land drop, and now I just feel horrible about myself. So,
you know what? I could trade with my human soldiers against this 6/6, but it's a lot of damage potential on my end. So I think I'm just gonna take the damage.
It's only 6.
Yeah.
You got life to give.
Oh, okay. So I have a question for you, Gavin. I'm not sure if you can answer it though, but I was wondering. You said you were the architect of Commander 2020. And you mentioned how it like dovetails really nicely with Ikoria. Was Commander Legends being worked on at the same time as well? Or was that a project that like you worked on afterwards?
Yeah, so I mean, as I mentioned, I've been working on Commander Legends for about 6 years by the time it comes out. So they were in parallel. And so we knew what was going on with both of them. And although this year, I know there are a few players out there who are like, man, I miss getting all of my old smorgasbord of legends in the yearly Commander product. Fear not, Commander Legends will have your smorgasbord of legends for you. If you want I mean, just look at what we've revealed so far, right? Baron Sengir and Kamal, and there's some fun stuff. There's a lot of deep cuts.
I like the nostalgia factor just from the few pieces of art you've revealed. I think some of my favorite Commander cards you make are like updates on old characters that are coming back as like cool new legends. So I'm definitely hyped for that.
Well, and let me tell you, if you think that Kamal and Baron Sengir are deep cuts, you ain't seen nothing yet. So there's a couple cards in there that will require some magic historians to tell you some stories, and I like that a lot.
All right, I'm not a fan of this whole attacking me business. I feel like I'm being unduly punished for some reason.
I mean, you've been
it seems very duly. I would say it is duly punished.
Okay, a little bit, just a tad.
What is?
Ooh.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. That's good.
Oh boy. All right. Well, I guess I'm nom-nomming then. Ugh.
Delicious. No land. How sad.
No land for you.
The old fizzle rule. We've talked about changing that rule a bunch of times because it always is kind of annoying, right? When you death sprout or whatever something, then they remove the target and you don't get the extra bonus. But it's so integral to how the overall function of Magic works. It'd be a big rules change to SWIP.
Speaking of rule changes, good job actually adding mill to Magic. I don't know why that makes me so happy, but seeing mill officially on a Core Set 2021 card, I was like, yes, finally, because everyone calls it mill, so it's always struck me as like odd that it has a really wordy explanation when mill seems pretty intuitive. So I think it's really sweet that mill, and also changing hounds to dogs was another one that I was super happy about.
Yeah, I mean, we have talked about keywording mill for as long as I've been at Wizards. But every time the conversation comes up, it's just like, well, we don't want to call it mill. Do we have a different, better name? And after years and years of doing this, I think we were finally just like, all right, it's mill. We'll just call it mill. It's good.
I guess if it's intuitive to new players, right? Like if they can understand what the mill connotation is, or they can learn it quickly. Was that like the main sticking point?
Yeah, the main thing is like if you ask someone who doesn't play Magic what milling means, there's no fantasy resonance there. Mill is just a word that is completely from the right. It's completely from the word millstone. But interestingly, a lot of players of other games now use mill because it started with Magic, right? It's kind of worked its way into the lexicon. And so after such a long time, it was just like, okay, fine, we're just going to do this. So we did it, and I think it's going to be really good. The one I'm more excited about for sure, though, is hounds into dogs. I've wanted that for a very long time. There have been discussions about that for a very long time, and now we are finally going to get the righteous hounds that the world so rightly deserves.
It felt a little unfair to me that cats get so much support and dogs didn't. I was actually like a month ago on stream complaining about that, and then M21 came out and was like, hey, we have dogs now and all hounds are becoming dogs. So I think it's going to be super cool. And cats are like so popular. So I'm excited to see what commander decks and like casual decks and maybe even some like standard decks people build now that dogs are a thing, because people love building around cats. And I think dogs have like an equally ferocious fan base.
Okay, so now here's my question. This is something I will say about cats, and I'm curious what you all think. Looking at non-essential objects, water doesn't count. In the world, is there anything more universally popular than cats? Across all cultures, across everything, is there anything that beats out cats in the literal entire world?
I think cats break the internet, right? That's kind of like the saying. So, I don't know. I think cats win.
I mean, it sounds like a ridiculous claim, right? I say that and you're like, yeah, I mean, come on. But then you start thinking about it and like, how many things are more universally popular than cats? Like, looking at statistics across the board. Obviously, there's no way to actually know, but like, what is it? Like, does it have to fight against pizza? Like, what's the competition?
What about dogs though? You don't think,
I think
dogs
are superior? Yeah. You
don't think dogs are in that conversation? Maybe it's just like, so I did a poll on our YouTube and dogs actually beat cats by like, I don't know, 15% with like 10,000 votes. Obviously that's a really small group of people, but you think worldwide cats are more popular than dogs?
I think so. I mean, I obviously, as someone who's only ever lived in the US, I can't say that for sure, but having traveled a lot, I feel like dogs are more popular in the US, but that cats are maybe more popular worldwide. I could be wrong though. I could be extremely wrong about this. And I've done no research into this claim. It's just a bold claim that I'm making right here on Commander Clash, and I'll let you all decide for yourselves if I'm nuts or not. But let us know in the comments, I suppose.
Yes, cats are dogs.
No.
Hello.
So Bastion of Remembrance.
Oh, boy.
Hi there.
That's scary.
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
So now if your
Still,
stuff
the fact
dies, you drain us too?
Now it only drains one opponent, I think, right?
Oh, is it just one?
No, it's each opponent. Holy smokes.
Fantastic.
What were we doing?
What were you thinking, Gavin?
You broke the game,
He only
Gavin.
gains one life. That was the balance part.
All right, I'm just going to be fair and balanced. Attack Seth. Attack... Gavin, you don't have any flyers. Excellent. Okay. So,
but I remember I was like goading your stuff. I gave you some counters.
I know. I appreciate it. I'm just spreading the love a little bit. And then,
I'm just imagining it's like Christmas morning and I give Mom a sweater and then she like takes her sweater and hits me with it. And I'm like, Mom, what gives? It's very, very, very rude of you.
I'm just okay. Here, that's all the damage I'm doing. I'm spreading the love. A little bit of 6-ish or 7-ish damage to everybody. Everybody should
And
be
for the
happy.
record, my mom is a very nice lady, and I love her very much. She would never do that to me. I just was using a metaphor.
Let the record show. It's on tape now.
Huh. I don't know if this is a trick or a punt, but I'm going to block.
What?
It's mutated. Did you read the mutate pile?
Yes, sneaky mutate. Getting rid
Oh,
of the
well,
calcium.
actually, you played into my trap, actually.
No, you don't actually. This was actually the plan?
No, but yes. No? Yeah. Can I say it is?
Well, does my
Boom.
Never
hysterics
deny
live?
cool things.
Boom. Exactly. I just wanted to lull you into a false sense of security. And now, behold, you played right into my trap, Seth. I'm sorry. Boom.
Oh.
Definitely how I wanted to order it. Yep.
Ooh. Well, that's
Definitely didn't want to.
I was gonna say you should have blocked the Cavalry Pegasus, but now I guess I'm glad you blocked the bigger one, so it all works out.
Ouch. Yeah, that wasn't good.
That was a bit awkward for me, but all right. It all worked out at the end.
Sometimes you just got to make that play anyway, you know.
I didn't want
it's about
to.
not
Yeah, I didn't want to do damage to Seth because I was going to remove his creature.
Well, I guess we have to do this while Tomer's tapped out.
Or am I?
Well, while
there are free spells in these precons.
Can you kill the Bastion of Remembrance?
No, I can't kill anything. But while your Kelsey's tapped out.
Oh, that's a lot less exciting than I was hoping for. If we're
That
starting
was
the
it?
sentence with I gotta do this while
Got
he's
it.
out.
You realize he untaps before your next turn. You're going to mutate this?
The Utrimi time?
No. Mutate the Demolisher to kill the Bastion.
I mean...
Oh, you don't even have any islands to walk to with the
But
Cold-Eyed Selkie.
That's true, but I could draw
That's
cards.
Thanks, Exotic Orchard.
Are you actually worried about the Bastion? It's only one each.
Yeah, you'll
One
be fine.
each? What?
That's
When a
not-
creature you control dies, he has how many humans?
Well, but he's not going to sack his whole board, is he?
Well, I may or may not be wrathing.
Oh, are you wrathing? Oh, well, you should have said that
It may
before
be
I
a
played Cold-Eyed
conditional
Selkie.
I thought you were going to do something good to Tomer, not play a Cold-Eyed Selkie.
But it draws me cards.
You know how much Seth likes drawing cards, all right?
I do.
We've established this.
Wait, so are you wrathing then?
It's a Sunblast Angel, so your creatures are safe.
Oh, all right. Well, then I will continue with my same plan.
No, you need to kill the Bastion.
It's not, Richard, but my card. Okay, I'll kill the Bastion.
I'll spite kill yourself.
I know.
Strong
I
army
knew
here.
something was gonna happen. All right, there we go. Yes, okay. Mutate. Get rid of the Bastion.
You can return your Sterix too.
We can. That's
like card draw. It worked.
No.
That's true.
It's conditional board wipe. I mean, I could start sacking all my humans right now to get some value out of it. But then Richard
I feel like there's a good chance that Sunblast Angel will not get cast if you sack all your humans right now. Just putting that
You
out.
know what? I'm going to compromise here. I'm going to sacrifice one human soldier.
I think you should just sack those 3 untapped human soldiers.
Yeah. That sounds great.
I like Tomer. You're like, guys, I did the math. I'm going to sack one human right now. I thought 8 turns ahead, and this is the right play.
It's about sending a message. And yeah, I have Frank Carson level of math in my head. So this was the right play. Exactly. All right. Well, I have a beast. Guess where it's going to be attacking.
I guess I'm not attacking if there's a Sunblast Angel coming.
Oh no, and the Kelsey is tapped.
The greed for the experience counter paid off. I was looking at Calcium this entire game. I'm like, why does it have vigilance? I cannot do anything about this.
Look, I didn't expect Seth to actually block. Who saw that line, really?
Seth certainly did. I'll tell you that much.
Jeez. That is true. All right, Richard.
All right.
Do your worst.
Attack and then Sunblast Angel?
Yeah, you should attack first.
Vigilance.
That sounds like a strange plan.
Oh, you do have vigilance. Oh, you could attack. Ugh.
Oh.
We're nice pumped up.
Yep. At least it doesn't have trample. That would have been gross. All right.
I can't believe you've only played those two companions this entire game.
You haven't had mana issues,
else.
Okay?
Aren't you like a creature deck? Isn't that what your commander's about?
I may have drawn like a lot of expensive payoffs that are meant to be in my graveyard.
But 6 turns from now, you're going to be in great shape.
Mm-hmm.
I've been holding a Gristly Salvage the entire game because I can't cast it. It took so long to acquire the mana.
That's the beauty of Commander. I mean, eventually you're not going to be seen as a threat, and boom, you'll explode.
All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I may have been drawing all the incorrect lands this entire game.
Yeah, Gavi Township is a little wonky on this board initially.
Okay,
perfect.
I feel better
just
about
literally
this.
a Wrath for Tomer. Like, affects.
I mean, sort of. He's going to keep Sylvar, and he's still going to have his untapped humans and beasts. I mean, it's good certainly, but it gets that Cavalry Pegasus off the board. But Tomar, like once again, his board is still going to be okay after this.
Yeah,
just it's not going to be killing us all.
I know, isn't that
Just the
sad?
difference.
I'm sad.
Wait, Sylvar is 10 power now? Oh my god.
And it's indestructible.
Indestructible, yes. Goodbye, Cavalry Pegasus. The strongest 2-drop I've ever seen in this game. It did work. All right. So, Gavin, I know that your favorite precon of the bunch is definitely Timeless Wisdom, obviously. But out of your paper decks, the ones that you own, what is your favorite?
Yeah, my favorite deck is this Mariki Rabarret deck that I've had for ages. I really like that legend. Esper is my favorite color combination. And so, I love that deck. And I always that's one I always bring with me when I can. Although I will say, during quarantine, my power went out, which if you've ever had your power go out during quarantine, just think about that for a second. It means there's very little to do. But fortunately, we all play Magic, so I was able to build some new decks. And during my power outage, I built a new commander deck that is a Tachiova commander deck that only uses commons and uncommons, which was a really fun challenge. No rares or mythics allowed. And it's actually been super awesome. And I've played it a bunch and actually won quite a bit with it. Usually I win with Hurricane, which is really nice. You ramp a bunch and then you Hurricane to kill everyone, or you Triumph of the Hordes to kill. So that was a fun deck I've been playing a lot of recently. But Mariki is my classic choice.
Hurricane. I thought it was rare.
It was uncommon originally.
Oh,
yeah.
Neat.
So I gotta ask you, Gavin, do you ever build a deck that you really love in Commander and you're like, I really wish I had, I don't know, this card that doesn't exist in my Commander deck, and then make that card?
You know, you jest a little bit, but absolutely.
I mean,
no hesitation.
I imagine that's what I would do if I had the power to make Magic cards. Because I would also assume that, like, if I am thinking this card would be cool, then probably other people would too. So it's not like a purely selfish thing. But yeah, that's super cool to have that power.
No, you are absolutely correct. Like, where card designs come from is anywhere, right? And I've been inspired by everything from traveling to Africa to seeing a game of Magic played. And so when you're playing your own game of Magic, like, you might as well look for cool new things that will inspire you. And so when I'm playing a game, even this one right here, I'm thinking of, is there a cool new card that could come out of this somewhere? A lot of cards have been inspired, especially legendary creatures have been inspired by wanting to do something. For example, one of my favorite legendary duos that I've made is the coin flip duo, Zender Split and Okwon from Battle Bond. I absolutely love those guys. And I'm always looking for new coin flip cards to come into sets so I can improve that deck.
Do you think coin flips, is that something that's still, from y'all's perspective, off the table for standard sets? Is that still living in the world of, like, Commander for the most part?
I don't think so. I mean, we made coin flip cards not... I think Tavern Swindler is even in a recent set or something like that. No.
Could it ever be like an actual mechanic for a set, do you think? Like, is it something that you could have that be a theme of a set, or is it more just like a card here or there type of thing?
Oh yeah, as far as a full-on theme, I would probably say that we wouldn't do that, because a lot of players don't enjoy coin flips. It adds a bunch of variance into the game for obvious reasons. You look at like games with mana crypt in them just to see like how swingy and frustrating that can be sometimes. I find those kind of effects are really a lot more fun in multiplayer games because the stakes are a lot lower and like you're okay with a little bit of swinginess. But I would never want a thing like that to determine high level competitive Magic, for example. So that's a really careful distinction that we make.
Okay, I'm going to attack first because afterwards I have a question for you about a card that I just drew. But first,
okay.
But first, I'm going to attack Richard because he blew up my board. He got my Cavalry Pegasus and I'm kind of miffed.
I like how your brain just immediately started to say Seth, and then you realized, like, someone else did something to me last turn, so I have to stray away from the default. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Richard, do you want to trade?
Yes, quote unquote trade.
Nothing nefarious here.
Well, I am at 20. I don't want to go down to 7, so...
That is a fair point.
Sylvar is giving me flashbacks to like, is it Falconwrath Aristocrat? I think.
Yeah, Falconwrath Aristocrat is the card that it reminds me of.
What that did in Standard at some points. Like the original, that was like the original Aristocrat stack. We still call things Aristocrats to the day, and that's like where it came from. Was the Falconwrath Aristocrat human sacrifice deck?
Absolutely. It's always fun to look back. Actually, now that I think about it, that'd be a really fun Good Morning Magic episode I should do of like the history of deck names. Because a lot of people call things like, why is the Rock called the Rock? A lot of people probably don't know that, but it'd be fun to go back and tell some of those stories.
It'd be a super cool episode. I would watch that one. I would definitely enjoy that.
Yeah, I'll have to make that happen.
I mean, when I started playing Magic, I was very casual, and I didn't really play like any constructed formats back then. But there was a magazine, I forget the name of it, but it was like a Wizards of the Coast magazine. It was like
The Duelist, perhaps?
I think it was like half of it was Pokemon, like on one half of it, like you literally have to like flip it over and it would be Pokemon, on the other side it'd be Magic the Gathering. And I remember reading like one of the standard decks at the time, or whatever it was called, was like Tricks, and it was the donate deck. And you would donate Illusions of Grandeur, and like I don't know why it was called Tricks, but yeah, that would be interesting just to figure out the name origins of such these cards.
Yeah, it was named after the breakfast cereal.
Oh,
Tricks. And then there was a very long tradition of naming all combo decks after breakfast cereals, which is why you get like Fruity Pebbles, for example, as a combo deck, which is kind of just a silly naming convention in retrospect, but there you are.
Yeah, that trend is kind of faded away a little bit. I think you still see it a little bit in the Legacy community, like their creative sort of like historic deck names. But in general, we don't really name decks after breakfast cereal anymore.
Yeah, well, I think now people have correctly moved to a world of let's name decks after what they actually mean, so you can understand what they are when you say them.
I think that's a good move.
Which while a little less flavorful is true, like you don't get as much variety when you're just calling this, I don't know, Mardu humans or whatever. It's nice to be able to say words to anybody and have it know what it means right away.
Wow, did you sacrifice the...
He did it. He drew 14 cards.
He's a madman.
I regret nothing!
You're going to have to discard most of them to hand size
I regret nothing!
Well, I'm glad...
He's just hoping to find Reliquary Tower in there. No problem.
Whew. Well, I'm glad that's off the table. Sylvar was getting big.
He was getting big, but I feel like, I don't know, putting my life total to 50 and just having a good old time seemed like a good idea. I don't know.
Oh my god, that's a new perspective. I was so busy talking about old deck names that I didn't even... Wow. Yeah. So if you have one more card in hand, you can really do things.
Yeah, although I don't have a single card with cycling in my hand, so don't get too excited.
Yeah, all your land cycle, though.
It is true. I'm a land away from
I think I'm going to go Signet.
Mostly I was excited about the 6-mana draw 3. That's the thing I was really stoked for. And I know it sounds lame, but it's very true.
Let's go with this. This is fine.
Stuff's happening.
Whee! All right, I'm done.
Oh, boy.
So the question that I had, the card that I drew was, and it was actually useful in this situation, Temple of the False God. I wanted to just briefly bring it up to you, Gavin. So I actually wasn't a big fan of Temple of the False God for a while, and I was kind of like a vocal antagonist to this card. Recently, though, I've actually started to soften up a little bit on my thoughts on the card, But the one thing that irked me, at least in Temple of the False God, which shows up in every single commander set, I believe, like every single year, it shows up in at least one of the precons. The one thing that kind of irked me, though, is why is it showing up in the Mardu deck? Because it seems to me that... Oh, wow, I have to discard a lot of cards. Sorry, 1 second. Oh, boy. Oh, man.
Yeah, you might need, I don't know, maybe you'd want some extra mana to cast some of those extra cards in your hand. I can't think of any reason you would be interested in having extra mana right now.
This was the worst time to ask the Temple of the False God question.
Weird. It's almost like a free ramp spell would do you good.
No, but okay, so my issue with it is, though, it seems like the Mardu deck has a very, like, a lower than average converted mana cost. It has a bunch of, like, 1 mana, 2 mana, 3 mana spells. It also has the least number of lands in the deck, only 36. And it does have, I don't think it even has Cartographer's Hawk in it. So it has no land ramp whatsoever. It seems like it's like the worst of the precons to have the Temple of the False God in it.
Well, you know, that's one way to look at it. On the other hand, as the deck without a lot of ramp, it might be the deck that needs the ramp the most. Right? If you want to be able to cast Jirina in the late game, if you want to be able to get up to your high mana cost cards, it's going to be the deck one of the decks that has the hardest time ramping its mana, which is a compelling reason there. The land count argument I'll give you, but, you know, my stance on Temple of the False God is that it's incredible in Commander, and a majority of decks should play it. And the reason why is very few Commander games you will not get to 5 lands. In fact, I would, like, unless you're playing a competitive game of Commander, you will likely get to 5 lands. And all you want to do in Commander for the most part is ramp and draw cards. And playing Temple of False God is just a free ramp spell, which is, I mean, I know there's a hot debate on this. I would say that I feel very, very strongly about Temple of False God being a good card to play in Commander. Now, it's not for literally every deck. There are decks where you maybe should not play it. But in general, I think it's great in decks, and you know, it is a great way to give ramp to decks that don't normally have good access to ramp.
I'm sorry.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Richard. I don't want to be killing you, but I really need these attack triggers, and everyone else can block, so...
What is this attack trigger on the Sawdust Demolisher?
It gets back my Sterix, and I get to mutate more.
Wait, what?
Well, it has
to read the triggers.
It has a
trying to read the
Otrimi
mutate text.
I get to get back a mutate creature from my graveyard if I hit you with Sawdust, and I get to draw cards with Cold Eye. It's not personal. I would rather
block
it also,
here.
Okay. It also tramples, by the way.
Wait, you're attacking me? Oh, okay.
I could have denied you a card.
Alright, that's fine.
The text just gets smaller and smaller in Moto. I can't read it.
I think that's one of the upsides of playing Mutate is no one knows what the creatures do because the text is small. So Tomer attacks into it with his flyers. I trample over to get my creatures back.
It's hard to keep track. At least the only gripe I have with Mutate is I do think it's a really cool ability. My only gripe is sometimes it's hard for me, because I'm bad at Magic, to keep track of all the things the Mutate card does once it has a big stack. Like, I look at a stack and I'm just gonna miss a bunch of stuff on it.
I actually think, it's pretty easy on Moto, but I imagine, I haven't played it in paper. I would imagine that if you had, 5 creatures mutated together in paper, it's maybe even more tricky.
Or maybe you actually
I feel like
read
a
the
lot
cards.
about, I mean, having played it in playtests a lot in paper, I think a lot of it has to do with how they present the cards. If it is literally one big stack, it's going to be really imperceptible. But in the real world, a lot of the time, the way it actually works out is there's some kind of layering going on, which makes it a lot easier to see what's mutated and kind of remember that those are there.
Yeah, I've had 0 issues with it on Arena. I've done a bunch of limited draft, which I really like, the format Ikoria Limited. And over there, it's one player. The stack usually doesn't get too big either. And you can always just hover your cursor over it, and it's really easy to track. Arena presents it really well. I'm a little bit afraid on seeing it in paper, especially a four player deck where I have to literally pick up the person's cards to read all of it sometimes. That's my fear.
The one that always gets, I mean, I'm pretty good about it on Arena. I will say the one that always gets me is Glimmerbell. Every time they just untap the creature and block. I'm like, all right, that was fair. I deserved that.
There was yeah.
But I still made Mythic on Unlimited this month, so no complaints.
Nice.
So I think I have to blow up the new perspectives. I'm a little worried that with new perspectives and Tectonic Reformation, you can just cycle your entire deck and make a ton of Krakens. So
That's totally fine. Honestly, I would rather have the 3/3 than the new perspectives right now. So
okay,
so
well,
you're doing me a favor.
And plus, I get. Ooh, Oh, am I just gonna die on the backswing? I think so.
From whom?
Well, we'll see. A combination of you and Gavin, perhaps.
Oh, I just have some 1/1s. That's fine.
You have 1,000,000 cards in hand, and you can play your. It's not like I can stop it anyway, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think that extra 2 mana might come in handy.
I admit in this situation it's good. However, I feel like out of all the precons, with Temple of the False God being a candidate for one of them, I feel like the Mardu deck that wants to have like a spell on every, like a 1 mana spell, 2 mana spell, if you see it early on before the 5 drop, it just feels really bad.
Right, and that feeling bad is an important point. We talk about this a lot in game design. There's a lot of things about what you'll remember and how cards will make you feel that really impact people's decisions, even if statistically they're not necessarily the correct choice. Ooh. And cards that have swings like that, where they can turn off or feel really bad, are things that you will always remember, even if it's correct to play it in your deck a lot of the time. And the games, even though you probably don't turn on your Temple of the False God in a very small percentage of games, the time where you couldn't play it or you missed a land drop or whatever because of it feels so bad, right? It just feels horrible that you will always remember that. Memory is really strongly connected with emotion, which is why you probably can't remember what you had for breakfast yesterday, but you really remember like an intense game 10 years ago. And because of that, you like have these really, really swingy memories of Temple of the False God, and all the bad things it's done to you.
Yeah, I totally agree with
so
that.
I understand.
You don't remember. You remember like the times you got screwed on mana or flooded or everything more often than where everything goes smoothly. You know.
Right.
Yeah. And
an interesting part of game design is psychology, and so it's, as someone who was very close to minoring in psychology in college, it's really fun to think about all the things that make games tick.
Mm-hmm. I think the reason why I softened up on Temple of the False God as well is I just asked some people who are better at math than me to try to figure out the statistics. Like, if you are in a 38 land deck, you have 0 land ramp happening. What are the odds that you're going to have Temple of the False God and you have to play Temple of the False God as your land drop and it's going to be a dead card? And I think like the highest, I got a lot of responses because nobody had a concrete answer to this, which is why like I need to like beg Frank Karsten or somebody who actually knows what they're talking about math-wise to figure it out and give it a concrete answer. But like I think the highest number somebody gave was like it's a 4% chance of being a dead draw, and then the lowest was somebody said it was like a 2% chance of being a dead card. So it's really not that bad, but yeah, I just don't like it in this deck.
You just gave all reasons why you should like it.
I know.
And then you conclude why I still don't like it.
I still don't like it in this deck. I don't know.
Just to be clear, you're targeting forest with the Sawtusk Demolition?
I'm targeting my own forest, yes.
Okay, just making sure I wasn't misreading the board here.
No, you're good.
Okay, great. All right, perfect. Yeah, I mean, I think it's the kind of thing, once again, where emotion is really powerful, and a lot of players make emotional decisions, even if the math doesn't back that up necessarily. A really classic one is if you show someone the following cards, a 6-mana 5/5 and a 6-mana 5/6 that has tap, you lose 5 life, the 6-mana 5/6 will rate way lower than the 6-mana 5/5, even though it's an ability, it's just a better card, right? Like it's a 5/6, you'll never use the ability, but it's just stronger. And it's because of that emotional reaction. You look at it and you're like, oh man, I don't want to play with this card, get out of here. So that element of psychology, once again, is very, very interesting.
Richard has been biding his time.
Yeah, Richard's going to do something scary at some point. Oh, wait, there's a Grizzly Salvage.
No.
It's all coming together.
There it is. There it is. He's going to put a lightning grease. He's going to dump a bunch of keyword soup creatures, and then boom, he's just going to one-shot people. I believe, Richard. I believe. This is your time to shine.
Yeah, I was really skeptical when the lead designer came to me with the idea of a one-shot combo deck, but I was like, let's give it a try. And here we are.
Well, I have nothing to do, so I'm going to pay back Seth here a bit. Let's see, 1, 2, 3.
Kind of generous.
Are you reanimating your angel or something?
Unearth.
Oh.
Hey.
Aww.
Very nice.
My card
I
draw in
approve.
my mutate pile.
You do have 7 cards in hand. You're fine.
I mean, you have 1 million mana. You can just recast your commander.
Yeah, you don't have Temple of False God mana, but you're pretty good.
I wish I had Temple of False God.
See, Tomer, you are on board. You are on board with this.
Converted me.
Oh, well, I guess... Should I spite Richard or do the correct thing and hit Tomer to 40? I will go after
Vengeance will be swift. Oh, no.
It's only 2. You're only taking 2.
You know how petty I am, Seth.
I do know that very well.
That's an important thing for any commander table to know who the pettiest person is. That's extremely, extremely important.
I'm only petty against Seth, though. It's fine for everybody else.
Well, let's see what the cycling deck can do. 6 cards in hand.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do now is make an 8/8 Kraken.
Ominous is a card I really like.
Yeah, that is a really fun design. It's great in all formats. Like, it's fun to brew around in Constructed, in Limited. It's like a really cool card to try and make work. And it's like not always good, right? It's good sometimes, but not every time, which I think is a really neat spot for it to be in. I
completely missed when I first read it that it didn't sacrifice itself when you made the Kraken. I just assumed that it sacrificed, and then after I realized, wow, this sticks around, I became much more excited to like build around it.
All right, let's see what's going on over here. 47 life and 7 cards in hand. Huh?
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I'm worried about it. Let's see. Oh, I think it might be finally time for old Cycling deck to do a wee bit of attacking here.
Uh-oh.
But I think I'm gonna open with this guy. Right? Is this what I want to do? I think so. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna bring out Brawlin, the Sky Shark right now. We all have our partners.
Everyone has found the partners.
Yeah, it's like we said earlier. You know, your odds of them are better than any other card in your deck. No problem. All right. Yep, I will choose to use the ability. Feel great about this. Here's Shabraz, the Flying Shark. Sharknado, what's that card called? Shark Typhoon. Not the only one in the set. Okay. Now let's go on the attack.
Speaking of Shark Typhoon, one of the things I really like about the commander decks being tied to a set release is you kind of have all these like upgrade cards. When I saw sharks as a theme, I was like, there's not really many sharks in Magic. Like, how do I build a deck around humans and sharks together? But then with the rest of Icor, you actually have some more cards to like put into your C20 deck. So I think that's a really cool upside that you kind of have a much bigger card pool for some of the themes of the commander decks because they're tied into an actual standard set as well.
Yeah, it was like kind of threading a very narrow needle as to like what exactly was going to go in these decks, but we drew the line at all the new cards are from the world, all the reprints can be from anywhere, and I think it worked out really well. And I mean, the decks have been incredibly successful even though we're all at home, so that's really, really great. All right, well, how are we going to attack? I think I like this attacking you.
Oof.
And leave that guy at home.
It's a 4/7. Wow.
Yeah, 4/7. Gavi's getting
Gavi,
big.
Gavi beat down.
And let's do this. And then I think the rest of these friendly cards we're just gonna hang back with.
You know, a 4 damage. I think I'll take it.
You think you can manage that?
It's gonna hurt, but I'm gonna survive somehow. Oh.
All right, Sunblast Angel bites the dust. I mean, he can reanimate Sunblast Angel again with Unburial Rites.
Yeah.
So.
Also, there are 2 creatures that ping like 1 on abilities. Going down to 4 does not seem wise.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're in danger of getting Blood Artist out of the game.
No problem. All right. Am I going to do this? I'm going to risk it. Even though I feel really silly about doing it earlier in the game. We'll just make the same mistake twice. I'm going to cycle this Reliquary Tower.
And then discard the hand size.
If I don't play a land, I'm going to feel really silly. But I just can't resist the cycling value. Okay, perfect.
Whenever you discard a card.
Yeah. Damage. A little bit of damage.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
And growing.
Just as a treat. No problem. All right. And then we're going to cast this gorgeous Signet. Love it.
Nice bit of ramp.
Now play this little land out. This ant, by the way, we haven't even commented on this agitator ant, but it's been like very quietly progressing the game forward, making sure that stuff gets bigger and people attack.
I'm all for it, honestly.
That was a card I was kind of like, whatever. Like, not one of the most exciting cards, but seeing it on the battlefield is actually having a pretty cool impact on the game. I think, it reminds me, like, in a weird way, a little bit of Monarch, which I think is like the best multiplayer mechanic maybe that has ever been made. I just love the Monarch mechanic, but it does that same thing where it does make stuff happen, similar to how the Monarchy does the Crown.
No, I absolutely agree. I mean, one of the big things for us when we're building Commander decks is often people don't attack enough in Commander. That's especially true of newer players who are often buying these decks. But frankly, it's just true in a lot of games of Commander. This one, an exception. There's been plenty of attacking in this game. Great work, everybody. But in general, there's not a lot of attacking. So cards that help make people attack and break up board stalls are really, really important. And Agitator Ant and things like Monarch or even the Impetus or Cycle do a lot of great work in just making sure that the game goes forward. Our goal for a precon Commander game is that it takes no more than 2 hours and ideally about an hour and a half. And so making sure that there's enough to keep the game moving is super crucial.
Do you think a lot of people play precons against other precons then? Like, do you have any sense of how people actually use the precon decks? Because I know I typically will use them and like upgrade them or use pieces for other decks, but is there quite a bit of precon versus precon playgroups out there, you think?
Yeah, what we believe is true is there's plenty of people out there who buy the precons and play them once or twice together and then start disassembling them or upgrading them. There's a small handful of people who just buy all the precons every year and leave them in like a board game state, like, hey, we'll play these whenever. And then there's also a big group out there that just buys them and disassembles them right away. And it's nice that we're able to kind of serve all the audiences. One thing that I have been talking a lot about recently, though, is that when it comes to these decks, ultimately a lot of people do play them in a vacuum, is buy them on their own and go play them. So even though we spend a lot of time building out this biodome of all of the decks playing against each other, and it's great to be able to do things like this, we need to make sure that we're really focused on making sure that all the new cards are and reprints are on point in the decks too. So there's a really careful balancing act of all these things to consider of how do we make all the players happy, and that's a really big trick and something that we're constantly working on. Doing better and better. An interesting note is that later this year, with Commander Legends and Zendikar Rising, we're releasing 2 Commander decks with each of them. And these decks didn't have any kind of biodome environment because there's only 2 decks with each of them. So I'll be very curious to see how those perform, given that they're more standalone, and how people react to those and if they still like them with the same amount of zeal that the yearly Commander deck release does.
I also want to throw it out there, Richard, I'm sorry for attacking you. I couldn't attack anybody else.
Apology not accepted. You could have refused the agitator ants.
I didn't think about it. I was like, ooh, treats. And then I just put it on the beast. And I was really excited. I was like, oh, I can't attack Seth. I can't attack Gavin. Guess I'm going to have to take down Richard to 6.
Ooh, hello. That's exciting. Man, you love the Starix. You and the Starix BFFs.
It actually does a lot of work. That's one of the cards that I've learned from Standard. It didn't look like a Standard card to me, but then after seeing it in action, it actually is a really powerful card.
5 mana 6/6 is a good on its own. Then you start mutating on it. It's great. So are you going to do it? Are you going to finish off Richard this turn? Just take a player out of the game?
Oh,
do you have it in you, Seth, to be that cruel?
I feel a little bad. Richard hasn't even cast his command. Hasn't even cast anything except those 2 partners. Really, hasn't done anything. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it or not. Do I want to? I could pass and then make Gavin be the bad guy.
Oh, I mean, you have to attack. You accepted the gift.
Oh, I did.
You could just attack me.
Well, then, I mean, Richard, it's the ant's fault, really.
Yeah, I mean, really, I killed you, Richard. I'm so sorry.
Gavin played the ant.
You're telling me this 12/12 auspicious Sterix is being controlled by an ant.
You can attack me.
Is that what you're telling me?
You can attack me, Seth.
It's really agitating. It's a really agitating.
I will take the card draw.
No, you should attack Richard. We should not give him more cards. People got to die in Commander. That's how it goes.
That is true. I guess we go. Wow, that's a 12/12. That's pretty good.
The Hero's Bane. That's a nice one. And when you activate its ability, it'll get 12 +1/+1 counters. So that's no small small game.
I'm not sure what to... So what am I blowing up here? So Richard's most likely going to die. I'm going to seize on 3. Who am I scared
Probably
of?
grab...
Humans? Probably cycling at this point. Tectonic Reformation?
You probably nab my Reformation.
That's got to be...
Ominous Seas.
That's got to be the best option, I think. I'm not super scared of Krakens yet, but...
It takes a long time to make these Krakens work, especially with the Reformation off the board. So that's fair. I mean, I suggested it myself. It's what I would have done.
All right, come on, Sterix. Give us something good.
Hey, more lands is fine by me.
Can never have too many lands in Commander.
Exactly, and you've got 6 cards in your hand, so... Yeah, you can't have too many lands in Commander, especially when some people like to destroy lands. Some unnamed individuals.
People, yeah. All right. Richard, it's the ant's fault. I would have liked to see your commander in action, but the ant.
Thanks for joining us, Richard. Really great to have you, as always.
Kathril, why?
I did notice when I was looking at the Kathril deck, it does have a really high curve, and I could imagine there's some games, if you don't draw ramp or early graveyard fillers, that you just draw a bunch of like Zakamas and 8-drops that you want to be getting in your graveyard and kind of stumble around a little bit.
Yeah, I think like a good chunk of the deck is dedicated to just like not even casting them, kind of like discarding them like Grizzly Salvage. But you could just get a bad hand sometimes.
It needed a cartographer's hawk.
That's what we were missing.
That was the answer.
You're right. That was certainly the missing piece. You're absolutely correct. Okay, what are we doing this turn? How defensive? So, Tomer, you've got a bunch of those humans walking around. Yeah. Seth's got a bunch of these guys. Wow, you have some big creatures over there, Seth.
Yeah, Mutate kind of grows.
Mutate will do that, yeah. Well, I guess I'm in the market for... is this what I'm in the market for? I think this is what I'm in the market for. Movie flyers. It's a risk, but I've been known to take risks.
Just gonna go over the battlefield a little bit.
We haven't seen as many dinosaurs.
I can now minimize this player.
Yes.
Look how much bigger the battle is. Perfect.
I will
can now read an extra line of mutate.
Gets taken out early and then just minimize.
Put my battlefield back on the screen.
All right. I'm just going to try this. This feels earlier than I should probably cast it, but as the kids would say, YOLO. So let's do this.
Ooh.
Okay.
Discard some draw.
Yeah, we're going to discard and draw. Now, I could blow a bunch of stuff up, but I feel like that's not what I want to do right now. And Brawlin's going to trigger 5 times, which is the thing
Brawlin's going to be massive.
Oh, boy.
I was...
Triggers!
Wow. And you get up to Krakens again? Yeah, Chandra seems good in that deck.
Yeah.
I was really wondering if I was supposed to Wrath with Finality rather than get my stuff back from the graveyard last turn. I'm still not sure, I'm still not sure.
It's hard to resist.
Yeah.
What's the short? Is it F8 to automatically order all your triggers? What's the shortcut? I know there's one.
Not F8.
Not F8.
You can right click the triggers.
Oh well, too late. I ordered them all now.
That's a bit scary. Okay. Yeah.
Braylon's gonna kill people. Hopefully Tomer.
What? No. Gavin's gonna auto yield to these triggers.
Yep. Mono yielding.
I made a huge goof as well on my part. By the way, should not have discarded the planes. That was a big ol' oops. Wait.
Well, we can't have everything now, can we?
Yeah.
All right. Boom! All that happens.
My goodness.
That was really exciting.
That's a 9/9 flyer now.
Yeah.
Not a flyer. Brawlin does not fly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
I see how you could be without a.
Right.
I discarded his Sky Shark buddy.
The shark fly. I see.
He gives him flying.
Oh, that makes me feel a little bit safer.
Yeah,
only a little bit, but
for now.
Play out this land. All right. Well, I still have some good-sized creatures, which is nice. But you also have some good-sized creatures, so them's the breaks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You only have 7 power over there, Tomer. So I feel pretty good about. You're gonna just block and draw some cards, probably. But
yes. Oh, okay. I didn't want to block that much.
With C20, Gavin, like, how much card design do you actually do? Is your role more like a supervisory role, or do you actually do some of the individual card designs and whatnot as well?
Yeah, so as the architect, my role is more to like, if you think about me as like one level above the card design team, so I'm like hearing about the set and giving advice on what it should be and like talking about the overall mechanical themes. Like, hey, let's do 5 decks. Let's have them be aligned to the wedges. Here's maybe some themes we should go investigate. Like we should do a cycling deck, things like that. And then the majority of cards in this product, at least, they made for themselves. There's cards that I influenced a lot. Like I gave advice on a lot of the cards. I suggested doing certain things, but the majority of the individual card designs came from the team and not me as the architect.
So you're doing more.
Now there are other products where
more big picture stuff as far as C20 a little bit.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Now there are a number of products where I am a designer and I do design the cards, but this was not one of them. All right, I'm gonna attack Tomar with a bunch, Seth, but I need you to like not attack me for 100 damage in retaliation.
No,
is that reasonable?
No, I'm down. I might even attack Tomar and help you.
Okay.
Wow.
Tomer needs to not be at 37 life anymore.
I like my life total
great.
though.
I know you do.
funny about that. All right, let's send some stuff your way.
I accept.
And
I mean, Gavin's kind of helping you draw cards, Tomer. You just need to chump a bunch and you get to draw some cards.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, you're just turning all those rando creatures into more cards. What's not?
I think
I'm
a random
hold
card
on to
is
these, but I'll let the disciple die.
A random card seems better than most of the creatures you currently have on the battlefield.
Yeah.
Crunch.
Drop
them down to 17. I guess 18 with the cutthroat trigger.
That was a good. That was a good hit.
Not too shabby.
Yes, I will draw a card. Thank you, Species Specialist. Ooh. Okay.
All right, so I believe in you, Seth. I believe that you won't attack me, so I'm gonna.
I won't. Not
right.
this turn, at least.
Great.
Eventually.
Yeah. Of course. Eventually, it'll be just you and me after we kill Tomer. But
I like the sounds of that.
Play out the signet and.
How many times have you cast your commander, Tomer? Just once?
Just once.
Okay.
Hopefully draw a white swords that enters on tap.
Ooh.
Uh-oh, I do not like the sound of that.
Yeah, that's...
Be very happy if, Oh, wow, I actually don't want...
You gotta have, like, a steward command or something?
We'll see.
When I attack you next turn, remember, Tomer, it is the ant's responsibility.
I deserve
I would like to... Is it tapped white source?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, it's somewhere the monkey paw curls, right? Like white source, and you draw evolving wilds every single time.
Oh boy.
I feel you.
You know that plains you discarded earlier? That seems like an untapped white source.
So Otrimi gives the creature trample. Which
it does.
Darn tootin'.
Well, this is awkward. Okay. I feel like you'd figure out not to put Otrimi at the top of the stack or whatever to make him legendary, so the bounty agent's not gonna.
Yeah, I think I've figured that much out.
I think we're just gonna.
Seth has thought of everything. That guy
I'm
knows
gonna take out
corner.
Gavi.
Is this to try to draw an untapped white source?
Maybe. Maybe.
I would like to respond.
Ooh.
I mean, don't get too excited. I'm just gonna be cycling some cards over here.
So this draws 2 cards, by the way. That's why I went for a human.
Oh, does Species Specialist trigger off of any creature of that type?
Well, no, it's going to go to Command Zone, though. The new rules are taking effect.
No, aren't they in effect?
Oh, I actually don't know if the new rules are in effect.
I don't believe they're on Magic
Well,
Online.
I'm sad now. Well, that was okay. I could have killed Browlin then. Oops.
I think getting rid of Gavi makes sense.
Yeah, but I was trying to dig for a white source that entered untapped. Definitely would have killed Brown, but oh well.
The fact that Species Specialist hits everything is pretty wild.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until right now, honestly. That makes it even better than I realized.
And
like it's kind of cool
because of life.
You could like play it against a tribal deck and then Wrath or something and just draw off your opponent's creatures, right? Essentially.
Yeah, which I guess, fits the flavor nice, right? It's just like kind of bounty hunter who just likes seeing things of that type die. So I guess flavorfully that story checks out.
Oh no, not a double white spell. Ah!
I was hoping for another tapped white source.
Oh, boy. Okay. Until end of turn, activate anytime you can cast. Oh. I can't kill you with it. Ah.
That's good.
Can't kill you with it. Yeah, that's, I guess that's what I like to
I
hear.
don't mind. Oh, I could hit you for 14. Okay, this is what I will do. I will tap this.
I will hit you for 14. What is about to happen?
Yeah, what is going on in this human stack?
Nothing.
He didn't find the white source he needs, and he's like, yeah, well, fine. My backup plan is just hit you for 14.
Nothing. Pay no mind. I'm just gonna cast my commander. I think that'll be fine. Put some more stuff on the battlefield. All right, Jirina. White. I think this is fine. I could have done this for the viewers at home and probably got rid of this, but I think this is okay because it lets me do this.
Wow, so ominous.
It could have been wrong. Who knows? Who knows?
Well, you would know better than me or Seth. I'll say that much.
Do you have a removal spell, Tomer?
I may or may not.
Are you gonna blow out my mutating if I try to mutate my commander?
Well, if you're going to mutate your commander, put it on the Trampley Hero's Bane and attack me for lethal, then maybe it might not work out. Maybe it might be bad for you.
But what if I just want?
Or maybe it's a bluff. Who's to say?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh,
who knows?
That's interesting.
Oh,
the old draw. That's interesting, huh?
What do we do with this? I didn't realize this was in the deck.
That's a lot of damage potential.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 mana?
Whoa. Oh, is it Villainous Wealth?
It is an X spell, but it is not Villainous Wealth. Well, I think I'm going to attack you, Tomer.
No.
Actually, do we attack now or do we...
So we put a bunch of X spells in that deck because it has the X commanders,
Yeah.
Xara. So there's some fun X stuff going on.
Xara is such a cool card. I gotta say, like, the face commanders, they're fine, but some of the non-face commanders from C20 are so cool. Like, just some of my favorite cards to build around. So you really nailed it with those.
Yeah, we love being able to create variety, right? So 3 people can buy the same deck, and you might end up with 3 very different looking decks after they've tweaked it a little bit, which is why you have a bunch of different choices for face commander.
The question is, okay, so I think I can kill Tomer, but does killing Tomer mean I just die to Gavin? Most likely.
You need me, Seth. Help me help
Depends
you.
on what you leave it. Depends on what you leave as a blocker.
Okay.
None of my stuff tramples, so it's pretty easy to chump block it.
Okay, I think we do this like this. We will... so we'll target you. I mean, I guess you could still have something that gets out of this. We'll target you and you. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Whoa.
Is it Villainous Wealth?
Exciting.
It's not.
Oh.
I asked that question already. But I'm excited for what it is.
So we will...
Leaves up 2 mana. Okay.
Counterspell mana.
Let's, how about a profane command?
Oh, that's exciting.
All right. You know what? I will allow this. It means nothing to me.
Brawlin's going to bite the dust.
So we get rid of Brawlin.
Yeah. Brawlin goes down. I do not have any way to discard a card, sadly.
You drive a hard bargain, Seth, but I guess I will go down to 6.
You do get to draw that card you were hoping for.
If it's an untapped white source, I'm going to be so sad. Come on, Moto, don't do this to me.
Come on, Plains. One time.
Okay, it's a swamp. The crisis averted.
For whatever extent there was a crisis, yeah.
And I guess we attack Tomer a little bit.
Give him the old what for?
Oof.
Do you have a removal spell, Tomer? If you don't have a removal spell, I would have just mutated and and triggered my Sterix and probably not tried to kill you.
So I actually was debating on what I should do on the last turn. I'm dead, by the way, but I'm gonna say my thought process was
You gonna kill off his creatures on the way down?
Oh yeah.
Aww.
Oh yeah, the 14/14. Oh yeah. Let's make sure
that.
it's super dead. Wait. 8, 11, 15, 18, 20? Yeah, it's gonna be dead. Wait, can I just survive? Maybe?
I don't think you have enough toughness, do you?
No,
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Don't know.
Well, I'm gonna also cast my last spell. But I had a Banisher Priest, and I could have gotten rid of the Hero's Bane, and then maybe it'd been fine. But I also wanted to keep Flawless Maneuver available to me this turn.
Oh.
So I was debating on how I wanted to play Banisher Priest, keep Flawless Maneuver, and then cast another spell, or play like Jirina, Kudro, and keep Flawless Maneuver up. I think maybe just playing the Banisher Priest would have been fine.
Yeah, though it's such a mana inefficient use of everything. Yeah, so you've got the Flawless
you
Maneuver.
actually, I think you do survive this.
Hey! Oh, but then I'm just dead.
Well, I mean, yeah, Gavin, hopefully finish you off, but yeah, you...
Well, the Zulaport Cutthroat will drain us for some, too.
That's... Oh, no, because
Will
nothing
resolve
dies.
when I'm dead?
Oh, hilarious.
Oh, and you don't get...
Nothing
you
dies.
don't get any of your triggers.
Yeah, I mean, I would have just taken a whole bunch of damage and died to Gavin because I wouldn't have a board.
I am not used to playing around the free spells yet. The, Flawless Maneuver and stuff. I mean, I guess I don't know how you actually play around them anyway, but...
It's like, does he have the commander out? Okay, maybe. It is kind of tough, though.
All right.
Are you going to survive this?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I guess it
I'm not
depends how
gonna
much
survive
Gavin
this.
wants to be dead, right?
Yeah, I don't know who's surviving this, but I don't think it's many of you.
Someone's dead for sure. It could be both of us.
Could be both of
potentially.
us.
Yeah, this is the sit in the tank, figure out some math for a second. And I think Chandra is going to do some pretty good work for me right here.
Yeah, Chandra's at 4.
Right, because I can minus and kill off everything but the beast if I want to, and then I can attack.
Yeah, and you still have
And
8/8s and a 6/6.
Yeah, so those go there. Those go there. I think I can get to lethal if no one has anything. But I will say Seth left 2 mana untapped, which makes me a little conspicuous. I gotta say.
Who knows? M21 is looking sweet. Were you involved with that, or are you focused mostly on Commander now?
I was not that involved on M21. I mean, I knew about what was happening, but I was more focused on a lot of the Commander stuff around it. That said, big fan of the reprints, big fan of the Hound Change. That was something I focused on.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna try for something here. We'll see if it succeeds. I don't know if it will or not, but let's try this. We're gonna start with this old story. Here's one you might have not seen before. 1, 2. I put Psychic Impetus on a beast token.
Ooh.
On my own beast token.
Yep.
That extra damage.
Right? And it's most importantly surviving this. So this might go horribly. Let's find out. All right. We're just going to do it. We're going to cross our fingers. We're just going to do this thing. See how badly this goes.
Oh, and then...
Okay.
I have a question for after we all die.
After you die?
Yeah. Ooh. Well, that takes out all my... Oh, I still have a beast, but yeah, I'm pretty dead, I think. Unless I draw into, another Terminate, which...
Well, and you're going to gain some life off the Cutthroat, so that's something. If you targeted Seth, that would be great, but I know that we all can't have what we want.
Oh, well, it's each opponent, so... I'm definitely targeting
I guess that works
Seth
out,
in
okay.
a roundabout way.
In spirit.
I approve.
There's untapped white source. No!
So close.
I just wanted to cast Increasing Devotion.
That wouldn't actually helped, would it? Wouldn't you still have died?
Probably.
It would have been able to block it and maybe
It's just,
took more
yeah,
damage. Turn.
five more human tokens on the battlefield.
Yeah, I guess that's true. They still all get Chandra'd.
Yeah. I think it would have been the Banished Priest, but whatever.
I mean, if you don't have to burn the Flawless Maneuver.
Yeah,
right?
if Flawless Maneuver was still around, that would change things.
Oh no, I clicked through. Well, that's a bummer. I needed to activate my Hostile Desert, but I clicked through on accident. I might still have it, depending on what Seth has. Oh no, yeah, I had to activate Hostile Desert. Oh no, that's horrible. All right, well, them's the beats. Attack. Yeah, I guess I just have to do it like this.
Oh, is that... Oh, are you going to be 1 point ahead short without Hostile Desert?
You're going to have to keep one of us alive. Perhaps.
Yeah, well, we're just doing this, and then hopefully I can get in for that last point of damage somewhere else. What a twist. Oh no, I can't believe that happened. Okay, well, that's fine. It just makes the game more exciting, right? All right, I'm going to attack you there, and you there, and you there, and you there, right? Because then, assuming that Seth doesn't have anything, he's going to take 13, and then you're going to block this Kraken and take 6 and go to 3, which is, I think, the most I can do here. So, yeah, there she blows. Let's see what we have. Oh, I get to scratch it. How nice.
Bonus.
See what we find here. I'll tell you what I did not find. A card that I wanted. Both on the bottom, please.
Oh, this does give me an opportunity to ask you the question, though. So, I really like the change of hounds being dogs. However, there was a debate that I had recently about the fact that the cat tribe has leonins as cats. What about jackals? Like the ones that we've seen on Almaket?
Yeah.
Was there any discussion about them?
Yeah, we did talk about other canine creatures like wolves and jackals. We decided to just make the hound to dog switch and not get into all the different taxonomical debates. Maybe we'll do a race of dog people someday, you know?
Fair.
That could happen.
Yeah, I got nothing, so good game.
All right. Well, that means, so I should be bringing you down to 3, Tomer. But that was the Hostile Desert. I did the math, and even despite doing the math, it did not help me. So I give you a 1-turn window here to clean it up.
Do my best to put up the fight.
Although you're gonna have to kill off my creatures and deal with my Hostile Desert. So
that is a bit of a tall order. I think you still have this. I guess, or maybe I just like play Jirina and then I have a bunch of blockers if you don't have any trample.
No trample currently. The good news is, by the game going next turn, I'll probably get to play one of my favorite cards in Magic, so that's exciting.
Okay, so step 1, play land, tap this, and tap this, and play Banisher Priest.
Yeah, that's the much-lauded Banisher Priest. I've heard many tales of what this could have done. But look how smart you were. You saved it for just this moment.
Exactly. I knew. I played around the Hostile Desert play. And I think I'm going to get rid of a Kraken.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's a token. It will never come back.
So it can die. It's fine. And then I'm going to play the Increasing Devotion that I was very excited to play earlier, but did not play.
Yep. Very nice. Get a bunch of human tokens. All right, this is getting interesting.
Yep. And then, favorite card in the deck.
Oh, he's got it.
Oh, can't cast it that way. Poop?
Oh, boy. That's going to be a problem.
Be fun. Oh, I didn't tap correctly. Never mind. It's fine. I want to have all these tokens. On the battlefield.
For lethal.
Yeah, for lethal. Imagine just wasting them on a Skull Clamp.
You know, the deep irony here is that you actually I really didn't want you to have that last token. So your misplay, once again, has done very good things for you here, because what I'm about to do is this, and you're gonna be really happy that you had that extra blocker.
All right, well, go me.
Tomer just punting his way to victory.
By punting my way forward, that's all that counts is the direction. It's not the journey, it's the destination.
It is a little weird that the old filter lands don't actually make mana like the new ones do. So it's kind of an easy mistake to make.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's certainly a mistake you could have made.
And I did.
For sure.
Oh boy.
But that's hilarious.
Is that
all right? Well,
save you? It might.
I mean,
well, I think he would have taken an extra point of damage. I don't think it quite I think he would have survived either way, but it's a difference of 1 life point.
This and there.
All right.
I just want a lightning bolt. Lightning bolt off the top.
No, actually, I think that was the difference, right? Because I activate Hostile Desert. I attack with all my stuff.
He's got 6 blockers.
He blocks 6 blockers. He blocks 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that is in fact the difference.
Exactly the difference. What are the chances?
Perfection.
I would say that is. I would say that is against the odds right there.
It certainly is. That's the best pun I've seen in a long time.
What a bunch of nonsense that is. Okay, well, anyway, I will at least make you lose a bunch of stuff here, so you're not as easy to skull clamp. Let's activate this this hostile desert this time.
Fair enough.
And then let's go for a little bashy.
Yep.
Oh, my beast has to attack. Them's the beats.
Them's the beasts.
Them the beats. All right.
I think I'm gonna just jump.
I will once again put both cards on the bottom of my library. I do not want either.
Do you have a favorite impetus, Gavin?
You will.
Out of the cycle?
Let's see. I do like the red one. I like the red one a lot. I think the treasure just does a lot of really good things for yeah, I just think the treasure does a lot of really good things for helping red decks accelerate a little bit. So that's probably my favorite one of the bunch. Do you have a favorite?
I think the red one is also my favorite too. Just because my favorite curse is Curse of Opulence, and this feels like like a kind of a
Curse of Opulence. Curse of Opulence at 1 mana is pretty aggressive.
Fantastic.
All right. So there's all that happens. That was a real bummer, I gotta say. Okay, well, I'll play out a land, and then let me try this little story out here. 1, 2, 3. See, I guess I only really. How many tokens is Increasing Devotion on the
10.
flashback? 12? 10 tokens?
10, yeah.
All right. Well, then I feel like I'm gonna want to do this.
Ooh, okay, that flies.
Play out a 4/2 flyer, and I'm going to return my Decree of Justice. So don't worry about it; it's fine. And you can go.
So how much damage can I do to you this turn?
It better be 17 or more, because
yeah, I don't think it's gonna be that. It's gonna be the correct amount. All right, so this is 1, 2, 3, and then I can steal.
I'd be very sad if I lost this game.
Oh,
just so you know about how I would personally feel, it would be
that would be just rude of me. Then at this point to try and steal all your creatures and kill you with it. 1, 2.
That would be 4. I would classify that in the rude category.
And then I can deal. Oh wait, you can still cycle the decree for like 1, right?
I don't have enough mana to make any. Oh no, I can make 1 token. Yeah.
Okay, so I could like Captivating Crew and then 3, 4, and then steal 2 creatures, but that's not going to kill you. So I think
you are correct.
Yeah, I think I'm dead, but I'm gonna play the Captivating Crew anyway because I think that's cool.
I've thought that about twice now, so we'll
you never know. Anything can really happen. Okay, I'm gonna use a Shadowblood Ridge. Correctly.
Good choice.
I guess I could also just like draw cards off Skull Clamp and hope for the best, but then I'd have to Increasing Devotion, so that's probably not great either.
Yeah, I mean, you probably have to cast your Increasing Devotion to have a chance of not dying unless you have something.
I can't do anything to the spell Pyre of Phoenix, but I am going to hit you.
Excellent. That's what I like to hear.
Oh, and I can only do it once. Never mind. I'm 1 mana short. Whatever, I'm going to steal it anyway. Whoop.
All right. Well, that's fine. You can clamp up my Phoenix.
I know. That's fun. Whoop. Okay. You know what? I'm happy with this. This was I did 5 damage. Felt good.
I'm glad because I'm also happy about this. So that means it's a real mutual.
Everyone's happy about this except maybe Richard, who got minimized very early on in the game.
All right. And I'll take the damage. Now, I doubt you'll be able to stop me with the 2 mana.
I really doubt it. I'm just going to tap out and cast a Sanctuary Blade. post combat.
Okay.
And then
I'm gonna. Well, I'm glad you
Seems
did
even
that.
less likely now.
Yeah. I mean, there is the free fog, but it is green, so I
Yeah.
feel pretty good about your chances. And then I'm gonna make another 8/8 Kraken with Ominous Seas just to be on the safe side.
That's
Yeah.
fair enough.
I feel like that's what I was missing. And it's Ominous Seas, by the way, has done some real nice work. It was great with that Chandra.
How many
But you get
tokens
like
has it made?
4 Krakens
Yeah.
maybe over the course of the game. That's
right.
pretty impressive.
Yeah, this was my third. I thought this was my third. Maybe it's my fourth. Anyway, it is a hefty number of Krakens.
And
2 mana for 3 to 4 Krakens is a rate I will accept.
and plus you can just cycle it away if it ever isn't good or you don't need it.
Right. Okay. Block. All right. I'm not going to bother activating this hostile desert. Actually, no.
Might as
I
well.
think I will. It missed an attack earlier. It's got to get another lick in here, and then we'll swing. And as long as I don't click through my attack step, we should be in pretty good shape. Beast must attack. Can't stop it.
You know what? No blocks. I think these humans will survive while I die.
I like that the skull clamp is still on my Spellpire Phoenix.
This is some moto weirdness sometimes. The Monarchy Crown also goes where it pleases sometimes.
But I mean, you left it on there. It works, right? It's a 5/1. But all right, bam!
Ooh,
cycling.
boom.
Cycling gets
took a
there.
couple extra turns, but it got the job done.
It just meant I got to do more fun things.
That's
So I mean, really, it all worked out.
It was on purpose. You just wanted to do more cool things before you won.
Right, absolutely. Got to maximize your time playing, right? There's some people who try and maximize for winning the game. I try and maximize for time on camera. So I successfully helped maximize.
Well, I think overall the game was very sweet. At least 3 of the decks got to showcase a lot of what they're doing.
I'm so sorry, Richard.
And Richard,
As architect of Commander 2020, I personally hold you. No, it's just bad beats. I drew the wrong half of my deck. I'm sad. And Cartographer's Hawk, I really wanted to try that card. I wanted to see how it actually plays out in practice. So I'll have to take Kathril for another spin another time to see what the deck really is capable of.
Yeah, rematch for sure.
Richard, did you get anything? Did you have anything cool in your hand that you were like, just like turn away from? Okay. So that was.
I was like, okay, do I have like haste creatures, lifelink, anything to come back? And no, not really. I just had like big creatures. I could have cast my commander, made like an 8/8 Death Touch, Menace Trampler, but that wouldn't have got me back in the game. So I just drew the wrong cards. I just kept drawing like 6-drop after 6-drop, and nothing really came together. So it was just bad beats. Just got to shuffle them up and try again.
Yeah. My favorite thing
The other thing I'll say too is, my apologies to Richard because he's not included in this, but for the other 3 decks, I'd say that at different points in the game, all 3 of us looked like we were about to go ahead and win the game, right? Like, you got your quick Mardu start early, Tomer, and we were like, oh man, he might be the threat that's going to kill us all. I remember when Saffron was mutating a bunch, I'm like, uh-oh, now he's the big threat. And then eventually, like, I slowly crept up and ended up getting the advantage to win the game. So it was cool that at different points in the game, there were these big swings of like, oh, who's going to win now? Who's going to win now? That was pretty fun.
The decks felt pretty evenly matched, obviously discounting Richard's rough draw, but it was a really close game, and it did feel like it kind of went back and forth as far as who was winning. I think as far as my deck in specific, I gained a new respect for my commander, Otrimi. When I saw it, I was like, yeah, I don't know, that's not that exciting. It only gets back a creature that has only gets back a creature with mutate, so it doesn't even get back all my creatures. But just as a repeatable way to trigger mutate on all your stuff, I was pretty impressed, and it helps minimize that drawback of getting your mutate pile killed, which happened a couple of times. I was kind of pleasantly surprised that I kept getting like 2-for-1 or 3-for-1 with my Sterix pile dying, but I was still able to just like get my stuff back, reassemble, build a board again. So I thought the deck was actually really sweet. I think I underestimated how sweet the Sultai mutate deck was before I got a chance to play it.
Yeah, mutating that Starix so many times, what a great way to build up your resources, both permanents, both creatures on the battlefield and just lands, so you could cast whatever you needed.
Yeah, and if you end up getting this deck and you want to try to upgrade it, I would love to have some of the cheap mutate creatures that we saw, like Parcel Beast or Sea-Octopus. Not even so much to be their creatures, but just like the ability to cheaply trigger mutate with all the other mutate creatures, and you get that snowball effect that makes mutate so fun. But I was actually like super happy with how the deck played. I thought it was super fun.
I was a little bit, I was kind of really excited for you to get mutate on the Cold-Eyed Selkie, because that's probably my favorite synergy in the deck. So 1/1 that draws cards equals to the number of combat damage it deals to a player. And if you make it's a 1/1, so you only draw one card by itself. But then if you put like a Otrimi on it, and you're suddenly drawing 6 cards, and it's a trampler. So even if Island Walk's not even an issue, if they don't have a good enough blocker, then you're still going to draw a ton of cards off it. That's a thing that I was really excited for. It's like my favorite combination of the deck. And I'm also kind of happy, Gavin, that you didn't end up putting Cephalic Constable in the deck, because it works very similar to Cold-Eyed Selkie, but it just bounces permanents.
but a lot less fun.
Fun. Like I've played a Volrath, the Shape Stealer deck that is kind of very similar to the Mutate Sultai Mutate strategy. And I did kind of notice that those two abilities are my two favorites in the deck, but doing the Cephalic Constable thing is just, it's kind of mean. So I'm kind of glad it wasn't in the deck. But I mean, if you are looking to upgrade the deck and add some new cards to it, that is definitely a card you should be considering.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that we do care about a lot when working on these precon decks is to make sure that the experience is fun. And so there's a lot of things that we don't include because it might just be completely unfun like that. Like the Constable, while it's neat when it happens the first time for you, it is going to feel pretty bad on the other end to play against. So we try and do things to reduce the amount of like unfun big swings that can happen. No LD as a pretty clear example, and also just reduce the amount of time things take to resolve. So a thing you'll notice, for example, is that our precon decks don't have tutors in them, except for like Evolving Wilds or what have you, things that are very quickly to resolve, partners that go for specific cards. Because if you just buy the deck off the shelf, play it, and then on turn 2 you cast a tutor, and you're like, well, time to read every card in my deck before I can decide what I'm going to do, it's going to really slow the game down. And so we do a lot to help craft these to be a good play experience for someone who just buys it and plays it off the shelf.
Yeah, and I think that's like a lot of stuff that people who just buy a deck, like, they don't really think about. But yeah, there's so many things that come down to each card slot in the deck, right? The fact that also that like there's like 3 archetypes essentially in every single deck, like you said, you could just swap out your commander and boom, there's another archetype that is the focus of the deck because of what the commander is dictating, and that's kind of nice.
Yeah, with the 3, or I guess in this case 4 commanders that helm the deck, you can count both the partners as one potentially. The direction we like to go is usually one that really calls out the theme of the deck very loudly: mutate, cycling. That's the face commander. One that is kind of like tangentially related to the main thing. It works. It definitely works with cycling or whatever. For example, Brawlin and Shabraz are like, yeah, you discard cards, you draw cards, it gives you triggers. It's really great. And then something that's like a little more sideways, it lets you build a whole new deck, like the Expel Commander, I think is a great example of this. It does technically work with Mutate because it has +1/+1 counters, and those are good to mutate onto. But it on the whole, it's like a really different sideways thing. That's the general structure of how we try and build these. It's not the same every single time, of course. Sometimes we deviate a little bit, but that's the general idea. And you make sure that you end up with very different decks depending on what you build around and how you take your commander deck out of the box that way.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, we got to see the decks really go off, -1, but I really like the precons this year. I think every single year they got more and more improved, just tighter lists, better mana bases, better card draw, better everything, really. And it's also a focus on fun and being compatible with each other decks. So I highly recommend it. You could buy it basically anywhere now. So check out your local game store to see if they have them in stock. Thank you so much, Gavin, for joining us and showcasing not only the deck and playing it with us, but also giving us like a deep dive on insights onto just how the decks were made and just your preferences on it and just like the good stories behind the cards themselves. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you for coming.
No, absolutely my pleasure. And on the mana bases, I have an interesting question for you. Now, I know there's a lot of discussion around the mana bases. A lot of things could be said, but I have a simple binary question. I'm curious on just your take on it and Seth and Richard's take too. I know there's a lot of feedback this year especially, but in previous years as well, on all the enters the battlefield tap lands, all the gates and things like that. Would you prefer if instead of the gates, those were basic lands instead? Or do you like having all the dual lands that enter the battlefield tapped? What would your preference be for the three of you?
Well, for me personally, I think for a 3-color deck, for example, I value consistency in the mana base. I want to make sure that if I have like a green spell that comes out on turn 2, that I'm going to be able to cast it into my hand, and then I'm going to be able to cast it rather consistently on turn 2 or 3. And I think the mana bases in this case are a really good way of doing so. Yeah, there's a bunch of tap lands, but they at least let you cast the spells. I think I would have be much more upset in my situation if I just had like a bunch of basics that, yeah, I could, if I'm lucky, cast the spells a little bit faster because they all enter the battlefield untapped. But I just run into more situations where just, I need double white and three of any mana to cast an increase in devotion. I just can't find my second white source, for example. So I think overall, it's a very good job. And if you do like a big comparison between like this year's mana bases versus like Commander 2011, even though I love a lot of the cards in Commander 2011, the first precon, like there's such a big difference between these 3-color based mana bases versus like the Zedru Political Puppets deck, which was my first deck. And I remember I was griping a lot about the mana base there. So I think the mana base right now is in a very good spot.
I think for me, I would prefer to keep the dual lands. I would say looking at the deck that I played today, I'm not sold that like Mortuary Mire or like Soaring Seacliff should be in the deck over basic lands. But I would rather have tap dual lands than more basic lands for the consistency reason. So, but some of the non-dual lands that come into play tap that I don't know if they add that much value, honestly. Like it's a little bit of extra value, but I'm not sure if that's enough for me to want those over basic lands. And I think the other thing is these decks are also like geared for new players. And even though I have like, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of bulk cards in my closet, and I'm sure I could get a Jungle Hollow and a Rot Farm if I wanted one out of my closet somewhere. If this is your first commander deck, like those cards actually have value to you. Like you don't have those in your collection and you do need those to play commanders. So I think that's the other reason that I like having the dual lands in there personally.
Yeah. Not to be colored by this game, but in general, I'd rather have consistency. I'd rather be a turn behind than not play my spells. So for like 3+ color decks, I'd rather just have all my lands be tapped dual lands than basic lands.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the feedback there. And that's a good note on the Mortuary Mire, right? If you're going to have all these tapped duels, then be really, really careful about the extra tapped lands you put in. Like in the cycling land deck's case, yeah, the cycling lands are probably going to be worth it, right? But in the case of Mortuary Mire and Soaring Seacliff, maybe not so much.
I definitely agree with stuff on that too. Like if you already have a bunch of tapped lands, then the other ones that are utility better be bringing something that makes people really excited, and maybe sometimes they're not as exciting as I would hope. But overall, I think like the mana base is one of the best we've seen for the precon, so I'm really happy with it overall. All right, well, I guess that wraps up Commander Clash. This was different than what we usually do because we had a guest that had their hand in the game, the cards we were playing and everything. So I was really excited. Thank you so much for just answering all our questions too. Like we don't try to make it an interview or anything, but it's tough not to avoid asking all these cool questions for you. So thank you again, Gavin. And for everybody who's watching, thank you for watching. And if you have any opinions on the mana base on these precons, let us know in the comments section. You can answer the question as well. But until next time, everyone, see ya! Thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up with the latest and greatest, click on the subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to check out similar videos, click on the links here and here.